Miami Heat fans and the NBA media have been destroying Tyler Herro and pretty much blaming him for everything. Brian Windhorst says Tyler Herro returning has messed up Khalil Ware and Jaime Jaquez' mojo. Ware and Jaquez had bigger roles before Herro came back and playing great. Since that has happened, in addition to the league catching up, them two have lost their mojo a little bit. Let's get into the video.
The Heat, since Herro came back in, although he missed the previous 2 games before this, but he came back from the foot surgery. Then he was actually, his shooting percentages were pretty good, and then he was 0 of 6 on threes tonight. But they they rejiggled their starting lineup, and they took Khalil Ware out of it. And Khalil Ware is still young, second-year player, and he doesn't put up big numbers every night. But that seemed to have contributed. And he's been in and out because Herro's been in and out. But he and Jaime Jaquez were had bigger roles before Herro came back, and they were playing great. Mm-hmm. And since that has happened, in addition to Bontemps' point, maybe about the league, catching up on some of the scouting, they've lost their mojo a little bit. They only played Ware 12 minutes tonight, and he was minus 15 in those 12 minutes. In fact, their whole bench was blasted tonight after they got off to that great start.
Honestly, the number that sticks out to me there is the 12 minutes, because he is a extraordinarily talented guy as a 7-footer who's really springy and can shoot the ball. 12 minutes, that's a tough number for me. And Jaquez got off to such a great start. He was playing at a 6th man of the year level through the first month or so. That drop off is not great, but
so there's a few different things going on right now. One, the Miami Heat are banged up. Even though guys are playing, you have guys that are still dealing with injuries. Jaime with the groin, you have Norm with his groin injury. Pelle Larsson, he keeps getting hit in the face and knocked out and all types of crazy stuff. He sprained his ankle. So there's a lot of guys coming in and out of the lineup. And like I told you guys before, we have to be patient with this Miami Heat team. We're finally getting everybody healthy, and at the same time, we're losing guys in and out of the lineup. Then you have Tyler Herro, which obviously coming back, he's a 25, 24 point per game scorer. It's going to be a little bit different. And don't get me wrong, that defense that he's playing is absolutely atrocious. He's getting blown by, bullied, and picked on. However, when you look across the NBA, all 5 of your starters aren't going to be elite lockdown defenders. It's just not going to happen. That's why even though Norman Powell's playing well, I still wanted to have Davion, Tyler, Wiggins, Bam, Ware, because now you have 4 elite defenders around Tyler Herro. Now, when you look at Norman Powell, I think he's been great. Obviously, he's been struggling a little bit. The whole team has been struggling. But you can't blame Tyler Herro for everything. When it comes to Khalil Ware, he's playing soft sometimes. And then you also have Spo, where he doesn't really believe in the double big. He wants to play small ball. But Ware doesn't always give 110% effort. And we already know that. He's out there. He's only giving you 2 rebounds. Now, last month, he was dominant. I still think Khalil Ware could be a great center for this Miami Heat team and a top 10 center in the NBA because of his talent, his athleticism. All I need him to do is go out there and show effort, and he's been struggling with that since we drafted him. When it comes to Jaime, he can't shoot. And ever since his groin injury, and especially since last year, he's proven when he's injured, he doesn't play well. So if he's injured, I'm going to need him to sit on that bench, because if you're not going to go out there and play like how you were playing, what's the point? He can't shoot, and if he can't get to the rim athletically, then why is he out there? Doesn't make sense he plays injured. But to blame Tyler Herro for everything, I just think that's disingenuous, especially when you have the league who's keying in on how we're playing. The Miami Heat are playing pace and space offense. There's no pick and rolls. You're hearing Tyler, Norman, Bam. Now they're coming out saying they want the pick and roll. So once again, you got to give this Miami Heat team to adjust to other teams adjusting to them. But I think the Miami Heat will be okay. And it's not all Tyler Herro's fault. You even have Dan Lemitard demanding that Tyler Herro be traded, and he's a disaster. And it's been a disaster ever since he came back. Like I said, even the bench was averaging around 50 points per game. Now they've dropped down to around 29 points per game. How is that Tyler Herro's fault? If we're getting out-rebounded, if we're playing small ball and getting bullied, how is that Tyler Herro's fault? I honestly think it has something to do with Spo and some of the role players on this team. Even Wiggins, he's regressed. Bam, he's been solid for the most part, but The overall role players on this team, you guys thought they were going to shoot 40% from three for the whole season? Absolutely not. So that is why you need your main guys, and that's Tyler, Wiggins, Bam, and Powell. It starts with them. They have to lead this group, along with the role players. Jovic, he's been terrible since the season started. They already paid him $60 million. So like I said, Fontecchio, he hasn't hit 2 back-to-back threes. I don't even know the last time he made a 3-point shot. So there's a combination of the role players not playing the same way to start the season. Injuries, you have guys in and out of the lineup and also playing through injuries. And then you also have the NBA, which obviously they're going to catch up to our scheme. You guys thought we're going to score 150 points for 82 games? Absolutely not.
I believe the disaster scenario has arrived for Tyler Herro. I believe that Tyler Herro is going to end up being traded. I don't believe that the last 5 or 6 games are just the Miami Heat have missed their 3-pointers in these 5 or 6 games. The worst possible thing, Zaz, has happened to Tyler Herro, which is in the last 6 games, 5 of them have been lost by the Heat. And worse than that, all of the fun, not the winning, all of the fun of, hey, we score 140 points a game, disappeared as soon as he reappeared. And all you have in front of you now is a fan base that fell in love with Norman Powell is blaming Tyler Herro for coming back and mucking it all up. I really honestly don't know how this could have gone worse optically for what Tyler Herro wants to.
Jake Fisher on the Miami Heat being a potential destination for Giannis Antetokounmpo. We talked about Miami. That is something that has been on Giannis's radar since 2020 when Giannis was considering opting out of an extension opportunity with the Bucks. Depending on the ability to trade Terry Rozier, they have various contracts from Andrew Wiggins to Tyler Herro and 2 first-round draft picks to make some moves. But will that be enough to get into a peripheral Giannis sweepstakes? When it comes to Giannis, to be honest, out of all the young guys, even Kaspar's, if we can keep Khalil Ware, or you know what, even if we can keep Kaspar's, everybody else can go. When it comes to salary, obviously Wiggins or Tyler Herro is going to go out on that deal. Let me know, who are you guys willing to trade? Are you guys willing to just empty out the whole tank and give everybody up? Once again, when you do that, and let's say you're only left with Giannis and Bam, there's no guarantee that you're going to win the championship. So people need to stop saying, oh, we're going to give up everything and everybody. Yeah, great. And then what are you going to do? Surround them with Max Strus and Gabe Vincent? That's exactly what they did in Milwaukee with Dame and Giannis. They got rid of everybody, and all they had was role players around them, and they couldn't get the job done. Also, too, we have to remember, Giannis is always getting hurt. So I understand that you guys want Giannis, and that's great. But as you guys have seen throughout the past few seasons, he can't stay healthy. So now you give up all of your first-round picks, you give up all of your young guys, and now you're left with hurt Giannis and Bam Adebayo. That is why you have to be careful, and every single deal that the Miami Heat make, it has to make sense. I understand you guys want to change. I understand that you guys want a championship, and I agree. But it also has to make sense for both sides, because Milwaukee's not going to take scraps for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Where could we see Giannis go? We talked about Miami. That is something that has been on the Giannis radar, the periphery, since 2020, when Giannis was considering opting out of an extension opportunity with the Bucks before the Bucks went out and traded Jrue Holiday, and then the rest was history. But Miami, in addition to Dallas, back when they had Luka Doncic, those were 2 spots that Giannis had his eyes set on as a potential next stop for him, again, back in 2020. You flash forward to this past summer, and it was all about New York. You know, I wrote over the weekend at the Stein Line, my joint Substack effort with the Hall of Famer Mark Stein. If you're not subscribed to us right now, you want to get in there. We're going to be doing our weekly video live stream notebooks right here. But if you want detailed written intel about all things NBA trade action, we're going to be coming to you multiple times a week on the Stein Line, markstein.substack.com. And we did a deep dive into Miami, all of a sudden shaping into a potential buyer this trade deadline season because they've had more success than they anticipated. And depending on their ability to trade Terry Rozier, they have various contracts from Andrew Wiggins to Tyler Herro and 2 first-round draft picks to make some moves. But will that be enough to get into a proverbial Giannis?
We all know Giannis is out of there. Jake Fisher says sources tell him the writing is on the wall for Giannis. From my conversations with people around the league, around Milwaukee, people around the Antetokounmpo brothers, that the writing is on the wall. He already made it clear during the offseason he wanted to be traded. he wanted to go to the Knicks. So we have to sit back and say, okay, if he wants to stay in the Eastern Conference, he wants to stay on a contender, and then he also wants to be in a big market. There's only a few teams that can actually deliver on that. The New York Knicks, they won't be able to move Cat. Why would the Milwaukee Bucks want Cat? And then why would any other team want Cat? Because let's say they take Cat. You have to be able to flip him now because nobody wants that big contract. So the Knicks are out. And they already proved that during the offseason. And then when you look really throughout the Eastern Conference, where else is he going to go? That's why the Miami Heat really have the best option. And to be honest, if let's say they hold him and then they trade him in the summer, once again, I really still think the Miami Heat are the best option when it comes to Giannis. It just comes down to what are the Miami Heat willing to give up and how greedy are the Milwaukee Bucks and what exactly do they want?
At winning a second championship. But I'd say overall, from my conversations with people around the league, with people around Milwaukee, with people around the Antetokounmpo brothers, that the writing is on the wall, and we are in this position right now because Antetokounmpo's agent, Alex Saratzis, told the Bucks this past summer that they were going to reevaluate things about 20 games into the year, and that's where we're at. And the Bucks are looking up at the majority of the Eastern Conference playoff picture. They have been porous, to say the least, when Antetokounmpo has been out this season, and he is, of course, still on the sidelines right now, nursing a calf strain, where we don't know when Giannis will be back on the floor, and obviously that is going to do no service for the Bucks in their effort to win more games and to continue to shape into a legitimate championship contender in the Eastern.
This is when you know the NBA has done the Miami Heat wrong, when you have Bill Simmons defending the Miami Heat. Bill Simmons says the NBA is blanking the Miami Heat with Terry Rozier situation. I hate defending the Heat. It's their 27th first-round pick. It's crazy they traded for Rozier, who's under investigation, but they don't tell them. They should get their pick back. They don't know if they can trade him unless they put him in a trade. I've never seen the league F over a team like this. Thank you. All because of jealousy, envy, and hatred. And that's what I mean. You're telling me that the biggest Miami Heat hater, somebody who says they hate the Miami Heat, is defending the Miami Heat? All because the no good NBA. And that's why I hate Adam Silver so much. This man blocked the Damian Lillard trade. I'm sure he's blocked countless other trades. I don't understand how you allow this trade to go through. And you have Terry Rozier, who's pretty much looking at 40 years. I don't care what anyone says. Somebody was like, oh, he's a celebrity. He won't get 40 years. Are you kidding me? Cash Patel and the NBA have pretty much come out and said that they're looking at a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme, money laundering, however you want to put it. And you don't think they're going to make an example out of him? They're going to make an example out of him, and if he's found guilty, they're going to hit him with 40. Why? So that people stop doing this in the league. They don't want this in the league. You think the betting companies want to lose millions of dollars? And you're telling me that the Miami Heat now have to make a... Let's say we make a trade. We make the trade and then we put the Terry deal in there. We don't even know if the trade's going to go through based on the NBA, based off the feds. No one's ever dealt with this before. So they don't even have any answers for us. We can't trade them. We can't get a first-round pick back. The money's on our books. We're screwed either way.
So, and I did a deep dive on this. Unclear if Charlotte knew about the investigation when they traded him. They've never said publicly. My guess is they knew. These teams always know. So they trade him to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Odds are they knew he was being investigated for a gambling scandal. That's pretty fucked up.
Yes.
That's like when OKC traded Jeff Green to the Celtics and knew he was hurt. Like, teams will do this from time to time. This is pretty fucked up.
Well, this is why you're getting the chatter about, like, is there going to be some kind of recompense to the Heat as a result? Like, would they be getting some of, like, a pick back or some of the protection back?
Right. That was going to be my second thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like Miami can get the pick back, but it seems like they should. And I don't want to defend the Heat because I hate the Heat, but I think it's unfair. It's their 27 first-round pick, and it's crazy that they're not going to have that pick because they traded for Rozier, who was under a gambling investigation. The other team didn't tell them. They should get the pick back. And if they got the pick back, that unlocks the rest of their first-round picks, 26, 27, 28, 29. They can do, at that point, you can really go after whoever. But the other piece is they don't know if they can trade him yet until they actually put him in a trade and the other team agrees, and then the league decides whether they could put him in a trade or not, but the league won't tell them until the trade is. It's like, why are you penalizing these guys for trading for a guy under false pretenses? Like, I've never seen the league fuck over a team like this decade. I think it's really weird.
I mean, just a very cool situation all around, from the gambling scandal to now all of like the web implications for all of these other teams. It's ridiculous.
It almost feels like they're
We are not going to wait all season. We are not going to wait to the NBA trade deadline to figure out what are these people going to do with Herro Rozier. Make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, and thank you for all the support.